The Minnesota Timberwolves are for real. This team is probably the biggest shock in the NBA over the last 5 years because until, last year, this team was seen as dysfunctional. They finally made an 8 seed last year, finally made the playoffs last year, but until then, they were seen as dysfunctional, always at the bottom of the West. This year, though, they are 44-20, have been the number one seed in the West for quite some time, and they are a force to be reckoned with. Their preseason over-under for wins was 44.5, by the way. They're already there 64 games into the season, so they still got 18 games left, and they are the best defense in the league by a long shot, and it's due to the fact that they can play 3 7-footers on the court at the same time, really. With Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, their offensive rating has also gone up quite a bit, up to 17th overall. Anthony Edwards having a breakout season. And Mike Conley, he's one of the highest rated offensive players of all time this year. Cat's out until the playoffs, which is a big loss, but Anthony Edwards was stepping it up. The first game without Cat, he just decided to go out and snap for 44, 6-3, 2-2, and just dominate. This is a guy that, Anthony Edwards, I think he's still 22, so he's going to be one of, if not the best players in the league in the next 5 years. You see the numbers on the year. He's 100% the leader of this Timberwolves team now, if there was any question about it, and he wants to be that due to some of his comments on Team USA this year, but he's shooting it very efficiently from the field, 47%. 38% from three on almost 7 attempts. Very encouraging. That's the highest of his career. And again, the kid's 22 years old. This Timberwolves team is a force to be reckoned with. He has continued to get better and better every single year. You see the progression there. You see the stats, the three-point percentage going up year by year. If that continues, in 2 years he's going to be shooting at 40% from three, averaging 30 a game. We could be seeing the next Shea. And I think this Timberwolves team is legit, especially when you look at last year. They were really the only team to give the Nuggets any problems, other than the Suns. The Suns took 2 games, but the Timberwolves had the Nuggets scrambling on the offensive side of the ball. Now, a huge loss for them will be Cat because it'll be tough for him to get reacclimated into the offense after playing 20 games without him, as well as whatever time he misses in the playoffs. You see the numbers there on the screen for him this year. 51% from the field, 42% from three is extremely impressive. 5.3 attempts, zero point 0.7 steals, 0.7 blocks. I mean, the efficiency that these 7-footers for the Timberwolves have it's what makes them the number one team in the Western Conference. And their ability to play Cat and Rudy Gobert at the same time, 2 7-footers, number one defensive rating in the NBA, because of the fact that Cat can play on the perimeter, and then Rudy Gobert is the best defender in the NBA from a defensive rating standpoint. He's also averaging 14 a game, 13 rebounds, 1.6 assists in 34 minutes this year for Rudy Gobert. It was looking like the Twin Towers were a failed experiment, but now they have so much length, so much athleticism, including coming off the bench. Gobert averaging 2.1 blocks per game and 0.6 steals while shooting at 65% from the field this year. Could he be Defensive Player of the Year? I don't know. He's definitely got a few to his name, but it's very tough. And like you can see right there as well, Naz Reid, who we're about to talk about, elite 6-man, when he comes in, he can also guard on the perimeter. So you can funnel everything towards Rudy Gobert while still having 2 7-footers on the court. 12.6 points per game for him, 4.9 rebounds, 1.1 assists in 23 minutes. Super efficient as well. Jaden McDaniels is also like 6'10", so there's almost, you can run a lineup with 4 dang near 7-footers. Naz Reid is also extremely efficient. These 7-footers for Minnesota, it's historic how efficient they are. The per 36 numbers for Naz Reid, 28, 1.3 blocks, and 1.1 steals. But again, he's only playing 23 minutes a game because he's got the potential Defensive Player of the Year and an All-Star in front of him. Now, he was actually 6th in points per game per 36 minutes. And the interesting thing is Leonard Miller was number 5, the rookie. These are his per 36 splits. Very impressive. Maybe they even bring him into the lineup a little bit with the absence of Karl Anthony Towns because he is very good at defense, could add on to that number one defense. We'll see what happens. But Jaden McDaniels is another reason they have the number one defense. 109.4 defensive rating and 0.12 defensive win shares. They have 5 guys in the top 18 in terms of defensive win shares. Jaden McDaniels is 28th, which was kind of shocking. But he's averaging 10.5 points per game, 3 rebounds, 1.5 assists in 29 minutes per game this year for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And honestly, I think he could be higher, on that defensive rating list, but he's their point of attack defender. Ant is actually very much improved on the defensive side of the ball. One thing that I don't like from Jaden McDaniels is that he is shooting at 36% from three this year, which is 4 percentage points down from his 40% last year. He did sign that massive extension, so hopefully he keeps working and doesn't just, sit on his money. They added a couple of more veterans this year one in free agency, one in the trade market, being Monte Morris, who's averaging 5.3 points per game, 3 assists, 1.5 rebounds, and 11 games played. He's not very efficient right now from the field, 39%, 36% from three, 2.3 attempts in 15 minutes per game. But, he has been very efficient in the past, so I'm not worried about it. 2023, when he was with Washington, 10.3 points, 5.3 assists, 48% shooting from the field, 38% from three. So he will get back to it. He's a very good backup point guard, but the reason he is a backup point guard is because they have an elite starting point guard in Mike Conley. Mike Conley, as I mentioned earlier, has just edged out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to have the most efficient season by a guard ever. These are his numbers on the year, so he's not quite putting up 31 a game like Shai, but 44% from the field, 43% from three on 5 attempts in 29 minutes a game, less than 1 turnover a game, and over 6 assists. I mean, that's pretty solid. They also pick up TJ Warren. I'm a huge fan of this. Yes, I'm a fan of NC State, so TJ Warren can get buckets. 6.5 points a game, 2.5 rebounds in 2 games played, playing about 14 minutes a game, just shooting at 75% from the field over that game. I love TJ Warren and Monte Morris added to this bench. It makes this bench elite, in my opinion. One of the best benches in the NBA, especially when you talk about Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Kyle Anderson, who are both really good pieces. Kyle Anderson has been starting as of late, but after the Karl Anthony Towns injury, but he's averaging 6.2 points, 2.5 rebounds on 47% shooting from the field, 23% from three, or 23 minutes a game, and he's got that good length and athleticism. Same thing with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Anderson doesn't exactly have athleticism, but he's got good length. Alexander-Walker, good length, good athleticism, and a really good defender, 7.2 points per game for him in limited burn. And like we said, Kyle Anderson is a starter for now, but this bench, you throw in Naz Reid, Monte Morris, especially with the addition of TJ Warren. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been really good all season long. Same thing with Kyle Anderson. I love this bench unit come playoff time because they're really good, they're really deep, and they defend the ball. And that's what, at the end of the day, that's what wins championships. The NBA loves all this flashy stuff, but the Timberwolves, in my opinion, are one of the favorites to win the championship this year. They got the Lakers tonight at 9:30, then they got the Clippers, Jazz twice to end a little 6-game road trip, which has kind of been brutal, especially without Karl Anthony Towns. But I think, maybe they take a little bit of a bump in the road, but they will bounce back. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like button and hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy it at any point. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching today's video.